Welcome back to another episode of Coach's Corner, this time boys basketball edition. I'm Jake Lancer with Danny Lynch for HWTV, and today we're back with varsity boys head basketball coach David Rebibo. The Wolverines are heading into conference play with an impressive 14-2 record.
Now, with COVID protocol coming into play now, how do you think this will affect your team?
It's already affected our team. We were on pause for 10 days during the holiday, which ended up going a little bit longer because of the surge and whatnot, and then the testing protocols to make sure we had enough bodies able to return. So it's been a unique challenge. We've never had a 2-week break in the middle of a season, so that was unique. And we're kind of working our way back into shape. You know, it's been a challenging time. I think, you know, for a lot of people across the nation, it's a little post-traumatic stress, right? You're worried things are going to get shut down. You're worried you're going to lose your season. You're worried you're going to be back at home doing online schooling. So it's all been a little stressful, I think, and it's kind of had us have to hit the pause but restart, and that restart's been really unique.
And having that pause, how did you prepare for the Notre Dame game?
Well, it was hard. We were on pause while majority of our league was still playing and practicing. So that was unique. And then we were able to get 3 practices in before that game. We unfortunately lost our Chaminade game, which would have been a great segue into that, you know, nice Mission League game to get us going a little bit. Good quality team, but we were unable to play due to their COVID protocols. They had a few kids with positive cases, which kind of hurt us. So then we scrambled to find a game. We ended up playing at Grant, which was a good thing for us to just be able to run up and down and play, but it wasn't as competitive as we would like. Just from the standpoint of they were dealing with some COVID stuff as well, so some of their players were out. So it didn't give us exactly what we wanted, but you know, we were trying to get game simulation, kind of get our guys running up and down and get back into shape. But unfortunately, you know, 3 practices and 1 game aren't exactly preparing you for an open division caliber team.
What do you think, including like those setbacks that you had from the Notre Dame game, like what do you think really had the result of that loss?
Well, you know, credit to them. Their 2 players made some big plays, and 2 other guys made 2 big shots, I think, that ignited their offense. And one of them actually one of them was late in the game, about 2 minutes, hit a big corner 3 that put them up 2. But, you know, they kind of got going. Felt like toward the middle of the third, fatigue really started setting in. We were steps slow on denials. We were steps slow in rotations. We were steps slow just jamming the ball and situational things that we were trying to do as far as our game plan. And I think that kind of ignited them. They had a little more space, a little more room, a little more space to get in a rhythm, get shots off, which credit to them. They made some tough shots still. Even with us being late, hands were up and active. So they made some great plays.
And how are you going to prepare for the upcoming Loyola game, since this is 2 big games in a row? And also you have a game before this against Alamany. So how are you going to prepare? You
know, yesterday we had a great practice. We're just trying to ramp up our practices, a lot more playing, a lot more up and down, just trying to get our guys back into shape, trying to get them confident. You know, we had 5 guys that had COVID during this break, and their cardiovascular suffered a little bit. You know, some of them have struggled breathing a little bit at times. Others are just out of shape, you know, and it is what it is. And, you know, wearing a mask for 2 hours while you're playing is pretty difficult. So that kind of only hinders us a little bit more, but it's part of the deal, and we're going to do it. You know, I think with every practice, with every game, we're going to get a little bit better, try to get that timing back, try to get our rhythm back, you know, keep continuing to work on things. One of the things that I think stood out in the Notre Dame game for me was, you know, we were calling out plays and things, and we're just so slow to get to them and so slow to just get to spots and things like that. And I don't know if that was fatigue as much as it was time off, and you're just kind of like, wait, where do I go here? How do I get there? And you know, that happens. as we said and we talked about it, I've talked to our athletic directors and assistants, and then we've had conversations. Hey, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about that? And my reply was, well, I've never given a team in 15 years 10 days off in the middle of the season. So if you have a plan, let me know, and we'll try to figure it out.
And seeing as the basketball team's already off to like a really great start, do you think right now you need to focus more on the mental game or the physical game or just both in general?
I think we have to address our guys and make sure that mentally they're in a good place. I think that's really important. But we also have to get back into the groove of things. One of the understated things about our team is we've had 7 practices with everybody healthy. That's since August, and that's just not a lot of court time. And with every practice that we can get healthy and stay healthy, we're going to get better. We're going to improve mentally. We're going to improve physically, and hopefully we'll be a little more sound as it pertains to the good of our team and the good of the individuals.
We've talked a lot about the break and what went down during that and guys with COVID, obviously. Besides the guys with COVID, because that's sort of a different situation, was there anything in place for the guys during the break to keep themselves in shape or keep up to date with the plays and stuff like that?
We have a playbook and we can send it. As it pertained to our guys, it was 10-day shutdown. We weren't allowed to provide any gym time or anything like that. We could send running regimens and, push-up, sit-up, things like that. But, basketball, like any specific sport, is unlike any other sport, right? Like soccer conditioning is you get it best by playing soccer, right? Basketball conditioning, you can run sprints all day, but the truth is the more you play, the better, the more shape you're going to get. And so there's no substitute for that. There's no substitute for timing, for being on the court, for playing. The truth is that with our group, and I do believe we have a special group, and we will hit stride at the right time. And this is just kind of part of our story. Every game is totally different. The speed, the athleticism, the size, the length. And for us not to be able to get some of those quality games that we wanted over the break, heading into Notre Dame, I think really affected us because the speed of our prior game against Grant, not the same as the speed against Notre Dame, and the caliber of player and athlete. So I think that all kind of goes into this and will only help us. Losing is only bad if you don't learn from it, right? And given the circumstances, hey, we never want to lose. We always want to have a chance to compete and be our best, but at the end of the day, if we get better from this and it ignites something, then hey, we'll grow from it. And that's really where we're at right now. How are we going to grow?
Definitely. And we're definitely going to get into the details of that game and the positive takeaways. But before that, I actually want to go back to week before the break. You guys take on St. Anthony, big time game also, TV crew there and all. You guys were actually trailing in the third quarter. You guys came back, fought, and won that game. What does that say about the resilience of this team, and how was that beneficial as a learning experience?
Well, that was just an ugly game. They did a great job of kind of getting us out of rhythm. It was Cameron Thrower's first game back with no restrictive minutes. So that was another wrinkle that we were trying to get, because he's a big part of what we do. And then, with the in and out, his timing gets thrown off. His rhythm gets off. And the guys have to adjust to that too, right? Because you come off a convincing win against West Ranch with 1 day of prep for St. Anthony's, plus you're adding a big piece. All those components play into this, whether it be mentally, physically, or emotionally. It all plays a part. And credit to St. Anthony, they had the whole week off, and they used the whole week to prepare for us and did a really good job. So that obviously played a part in that. We didn't shoot the ball terribly well. I thought we had good looks and good opportunities. Our defense was pretty good, and it's where we needed to be. I was just a little surprised at our offense. I thought we missed some layups, missed some chippies, missed some open shots that we normally make. And then down the stretch, I think we probably get to 60, 62 points without a couple critical mental mistakes that we made, kind of giving up layups that we wouldn't have given up and things like that.
It was definitely a low-scoring game for you guys compared to other games on the season. And so you go from that game, we go into the break, which we talked about. You come into this Notre Dame game, and for most of the game, it was anyone that was watching it really felt that you guys were having your way with them, getting what you wanted, And then you talk about this fatigue setting in, and you guys were up as much as, I'm pretty sure it was double digits at one point in the third quarter. They were able to come back. You end up losing the game. How do you guys make sure that that doesn't happen again, giving up a lead like that?
You know, I thought that our defense and offensive game plans were pretty good. I thought our execution on those in the first quarter, I thought we were a little excited and energy kind of took over, so to speak. Second quarter, I thought we settled in and we started to do the things that we normally do and wanted to do. And defensively, I thought we did a much better job limiting catches and kind of creating havoc and taking away space, which is what we were trying to do for those guys. As we approach the third quarter, Brady picks up his third. And then you could kind of just see, like, we just weren't able to drop the hammer. Even in the second quarter, you know, there were moments we were up 10 with multiple possessions to put it up to 14, 12, 14, 16. We just weren't able to do that. And a few defensive lapses here, you know, and as we talked about timing, there's a ton of timing in what we try to do defensively and how we want to play with the level of aggression and moving on the fly to the ball and things like that. So I think, you know, obviously, number one, we got big game experience, which is good. That was a big game. It was kind of publicized, and you know, you're just like, hey, it's league game number 2, but okay, well, you know, we'll call it game of the year, whatever you want to call it. But you know, we got that experience. We got to play at a high level with fast-paced, high level caliber athletes who do a really good job, and we got to learn from it. You know, I would love to tell you that, hey, we'll be in the kind of shape we were 2 weeks from now. We won't. We'll be in much better shape. I would love to tell you our timing will be the same. It won't. We'll be a lot better. And I think with that, we'll see our team take off, hopefully, in the right direction and peak at the right time, which is all this is really about.
You know, you look at where exactly the momentum changed in that game. I'm going to be honest with you. If I was listening to a radio broadcast of that or my eyes were closed and I didn't see the Harvard Westlake logo on the middle of the floor, it really would have felt like a Notre Dame home game by the time after halftime. Obviously, COVID, it isn't exactly in your control, but can you talk to how much a crowd would help and if it really did play a big factor in that game?
Yeah, I mean, listen, home court is your fans, right? It's your student section. That's what it's all about. You know, they seem to have a lot more fans than us, even though we were supposed to only have 4 per. Or maybe they were just louder. You know, the truth is that they were incredibly excited to play us. We had beaten them the last 6 years, and they had a good team. And you know, sometimes the stars just align, right? And when those kinds of things happen, basketball, like majority of sports, is a momentum sport. And hey, a 10-point lead can go like that. A 20-point lead can go. But it's in the details, right? And I would love to tell. I would hate to think that a crowd would impact the decision on the game. I just don't believe that. I believe that our guys we had mental mistakes and fatigue set in, and you know, critical timing plays and things that are so important to a basketball game. We were just off a little bit.
You know, it's really interesting looking at the St. Anthony and Notre Dame game because they're 2 big games, but it's 2 different positions that you guys are in, where in St. Anthony you're playing from behind. There's that playing from behind mindset, which is definitely a different style of play. In Notre Dame, it's really about increasing this lead. Do you think that mindset had played a factor in that? And how do you guys sort of change that mindset going forward, even if you're like leading in a game in the third quarter, still playing with that intensity?
Well, I think, you know, the value is in the possession, right? We have to understand that every possession matters and every possession is critical. You know, a blown assignment, yeah, it's one play, but for the right player, it could be the play that gets them going. And it's something that we try to impart on our players constantly, the importance of possession basketball and understanding and valuing every possession on both ends of the ball. So that experience is big for us. You know, with St. Anthony, 2 totally different scenarios. You had St. Anthony, who was kind of like a ground and pound. They want to slow the game down, junk it up. And Notre Dame was trying to play a tempo game in which, hey, we really, I thought, did a really good job of, for 3.5 quarters, controlling tempo and kind of getting what we wanted to get. We just weren't as efficient taking care of the ball. And we were a little less efficient on the defensive end as far as making Ben, number 1, and Dusty, number 4's catches a little more difficult. As the game went on, their catches got a little easier and a little easier, which ignites confidence, right? And those are the things that we just have to value, and I think we'll learn a lot from and really grow from.
And coming off the tough loss, how do you keep your team still motivated and still locked in a goal of winning league?
We don't have to say much to them. They heard Notre Dame celebrating. They saw it. We've got a bunch of juniors, seniors, sophomores who have been there before, and they know. They know what it takes. They know what we need to do. We're just in a really uncomfortable, inconvenient time. And so navigating that is where we have to really help them. But as far as motivating them, I don't know if that's something we're going to really have to do as much because they know their goals are set high. They understand what the bar is for us as a program and for us as a team. And so we really don't have to talk about that too much, but just kind of help them navigate through and get them back to where we were before the break.
We talked about the game and what happened in it. There were definitely some positive takeaways, though, and one of them was being Trent Perry, who really had a big game, coming out game, sort of. How does his skill set how is he going to help you guys down the stretch in the season?
Trent's a really talented basketball player. He's a sophomore who, despite being a sophomore, is really going through his freshman year because last year, COVID year, he didn't go through the summer basketball program, the fall basketball program, the practices, the tournaments, right? He kind of went like, okay, we're practicing outside. Okay, hey, we're back inside and we're going to play a game in a week. And it was just like, okay, we're just throwing a million things at these guys and then play. Okay, now we're going to try to start preparing for teams. Okay, play. So he got that part of it, but he didn't get the entire process. And when you skip steps because you're trying to go from A to Y, there are things that are going to be lost. And for a lot of our guys, that especially our younger guys, that was kind of the case because we weren't able to break things down the way we like to. We weren't able to kind of go through our process. And I think as a program, we have an idea of, hey, this is where we kind of need to be August through October. Okay, October through December, this is kind of where we need to be. And then as we hit January, it's like, hey, if we're here, we're gonna have a chance to do something special. As it pertains to him, he's ultra talented, so he's learning. He's learning how to do that kind of every night, how to play within the offense, how to play with other really good players, which is a skill, right? It's why we see 2,000 transfers every year in college sports because a lot of players don't understand how to play with better players and how to be them within being in a team environment and making others better. And as Trent continues to grow and stays open-minded, the sky will be the limit for him.
And speaking on standout sophomores, we saw during the game when Robert Hinton was in, he was shutting down and locking down Notre Dame's offense. Why didn't he get more playing time in the fourth quarter?
I think sometimes when you're late in the game, things kind of, depending on where you're at, right? Hey, we're kind of getting stops. Boom, let's go here. Hey, you're not getting stops. Hey, let's try this. It kind of just felt like we were completely out of whack. And as a staff and as a team, we were kind of just searching. And certain times you just go with your veterans, right? With the hopes like, hey, their experience is going to get us there. And I think that was kind of our hope. We think Robert's got a tremendous future and he has a chance to do a lot of great things for us. And we're excited about him.
A bit of a broader question. It's no secret that Brady Dunlap is just a straight up baller, honestly. It feels like every game he highlights another aspect of his skill set. And honestly, my favorite part of his performance on Friday was actually off the court. He had just forgotten an assignment on defense and you weren't happy with him and benched him. And unlike most guys in his position who may feel sort of entitled to be on the floor and maybe become sour, he was actually the most electric guy on the bench, standing up and cheering on his teammates and making sure everyone's energy was high. And that really spoke to me about the type of player, not the type of player he was, but the type of human he is. How does that resemble the attitude sort of your whole team?
Brady, like the rest of our guys, wants to win. He's here because he wants to win and have a chance at a Mission League and Open Division Championship. That's the barometer, and our guys know. And sometimes for other guys, they're not upset that they're not playing well. They're upset they're not helping the team, right? And how they show that's totally different. In that specific situation, Brady actually picked up his third foul, and we had to sub him out because he picked up his third foul. but he was still into the game, and he understood the situation. He obviously didn't like it because he wanted to be on the court helping us, but he knew that he had to bring energy, and energy is something we talk about all the time. And it's not just your energy while playing an effort; it's your energy you give off, right? If your head is down and you're on the bench and you're upset because you got subbed out, well, that's negative energy, right? That's energy that could be deemed and perceived as, hey, this guy's just into himself. So we talk about body language and energy all the time, and it's really important that our guys should demonstrate. We know some guys need a minute, right? We all do. I have moments where I need a minute. I'll sit down and take a deep breath and kind of get back into the game and refocus. And so we kind of try to allow that, but then we also want you to get back and be engaged, right? We tell our guys, hey, the starters have the toughest job because they don't know what's going to be thrown at them to start the game. Guys coming off the bench should have a feel and understanding. So that's an opportunity for you to impact the game with understanding and seeing the flow and understanding what the offense and defense are trying to do on the other side. So I think that's a big thing for us.
He talks about having a lot of experienced players on this team that have gone through a lot of the ups and downs of the game of basketball. How have they sort of stepped up in this time of adversity, keeping guys' energy and spirits up?
Everyone's trying to do their best. Everyone is trying to manage what happened Friday night, manage what happened the previous 2 weeks with the shutdown. Everyone's trying to get through it. But the reality is time together, time on the court is going to be our best doctor, best remedy, right? The more we're together, the more we're on the court, the more we're playing, the better we're going to get, as we saw early on in the year. And the healthier we stay. That's the truth. We are only as good as we can be healthy and be on the court. And so as that happens, you'll see Dante, Cameron, Jacob, Landon, Derek, Cuban, and all those seniors and upperclassmen, Brando, Fuqua, you'll see all those guys take on leadership roles and talk about things and be the guys that we expect them to be. And then you'll see our younger guys gain experience, gain knowledge, gain perspective, and that'll only lead to us getting better and better.
My last question would be, what do you think the key is to getting things back on track and winning a Mission League title?
The number one key for us is staying on the court. We got to practice today. We got to play Alamany tomorrow. We got to practice Thursday, and we got to play Loyola Friday. And then for us, try to add a few competitive games here and there where we can. We're constantly evaluating our schedule. We've lost 5 games to this point, and we're trying to add where we can. But we want to add competitive games. We're not just going to play games just to play them. And that's just because we feel like in order for us to get to where we want, we need competitive games.
Seeing how crazy this season has already been, what is one word you would use to describe this season?
Inconvenient. That's kind of been the motto in the coach's office across the board, because girls basketball, girls soccer, wrestling, we're all going through it, right? Water polo, girls water polo, we're all going through it, and we have to understand that it's just, while it is inconvenient, it literally has to be hour by hour for us, and we have to understand that, respect that, and kind of get through it together and support one another. Just the same way we tell our athletes to support one another, in hopes that things get better soon.
Thank you so much for joining us on your second Coach's Corner of the year. Good luck to you guys this week. I'm Danny Lynch with Jake Lancer. We'll see you next time on Coach's Corner. Enjoy the game.